Hey everyone, we are going to read a few poems today together. Make sure you are taking notes. In your Wednesday Do Now assignment, we have the poems we are going to read, and then down here we will have the attachment of your notes that you need to copy and paste. Remember, you highlight the whole thing, you press Control C, or you go over here to edit, hit copy, and then wherever your BGD notebook is, you will hit paste. All right, let's start reading. We are on part 5. We are very close to the end. We will probably finish this memoir next week. So, part 5, Ready to Change the World. After Greenville, number 2. After Daddy dies, my grandmother sells the house in Nickeltown, gives the brown chair to Miss Bell, Daddy's clothes to the brothers at the Kingdom Hall, the kitchen table and bright yellow chairs to her sister Lucinda in Fieldcrest Village. After Daddy dies, my grandmother brings the bed our mother was born in to Brooklyn, unpacks her dresses in the small empty bedroom downstairs, puts her Bible, watchtowers, and awakes a picture of Daddy on the little brown bookshelf. After Daddy dies, spring blurs into summer, then winter comes on too cold and fast. When my grandmother moves a chair to the living room window, watches the tree drop the last of its leaves, while boys play skelly and spinning tops in the middle of our quiet Brooklyn street. After Daddy dies, I learn to jump double dutch slowly, tripping again and again over my 2 big feet, counting 10, 20, 30, 40, deep into the winter, until one afternoon, gravity releases me and my feet fly free in the ropes, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. As my grandmother watches me, both of our worlds changed forever. So our notes for today, it says reread after Greenville 1. So make sure you go back and reread that. Think about the 2 poems. How are they connected? Greenville 1 and Greenville 2. Who was moving in Greenville number 1? Mimosa Tree. A mimosa tree, green and thin-limbed, pushes up through the snow. My grandmother brought the seeds with her from back home. Sometimes she pulls a chair to the window, looks down over the yard. The promise of glittering sidewalks feels a long time behind us now. No diamonds anywhere to be found. But some days, just after snow falls, the sun comes out, shines down on the promise of that tree from back home joining us here. Shines down over the bright white ground. And on those days, so much light and warmth fills the room that it's hard not to believe in a little bit of everything. Bubblegum cigarettes. You can buy a box of bubblegum cigarettes for a dime at the bodega around the corner. Sometimes Maria and I walk there, our fingers laced together, a nickel in each of our pockets. The bubblegum is pink, with white wrappers, with white paper wrapped around it. When you put it to your mouth and blow, a white puff comes out. You can really believe you're smoking. We talk with the bubble gum cigarettes between our fingers, hold them in the air like the movie stars on TV. We let them dangle from our mouths and look at each other through slitted eyes, then laugh at how grown up we can be. How beautiful. When my sister sees us pretending to smoke, she shakes her head. That's why Daddy died, she says. After that, me and Maria peel the paper off, turn our cigarettes into regular bubble gum. After that, the game is over. All right, make sure you're going into your notes. What do Maria and Jacqueline pretend to be cigarettes? What's left behind? You've got your daddy's easy way, my grandmother says to me, holding the picture of my grandfather in her hands. I watch you with your friends and see him all over again. Where will the wedding supper be? Way down yonder in the hollow tree? We look at a picture without talking. Sometimes I don't know the words for things, how to write down the feeling of knowing that every dying person leaves something behind. I got my grandfather's easy way. Maybe I know this when I'm laughing. Maybe I know it when I think of Daddy and he feels close enough for me to lay my head against his shoulder. I remember how he laughed, I tell my grandmother, and she smiles and says, because you laughed just like him. 2 peas in a pod you were. 2 peas in a pod we were. So what are the things that her grandfather left behind that she's talking about? The stories I tell. Every autumn, the teacher asks us to write about summer vacation and read it to the class. In Brooklyn, everybody goes south, or to Puerto Rico, or to their cousin's house in Queens. But after my grandmother moves to New York, we only go down south once, for my Aunt Lucinda's funeral. After that, my grandmother says, she's done with the South, says it makes her too sad. But now when summer comes, our family gets on a plane, flies to Africa, Hawaii, Chicago. For summer vacations, we went to Long Island to the beach. Everybody went fishing and everybody caught a lot of fish. Even though no one in my family has ever been to Long Island or fished or likes the ocean, too deep, too scary. Still, each autumn, I write a story. In my writing, there's a stepfather now who lives in California but meets us wherever we go. There is a church, not a kingdom hall. There is a blue car, a new dress, loose unribboned hair. In my story, our family is regular as air. 2 boys, 2 girls, sometimes a dog. Did that really happen? The kids in the class ask. Yeah, I say. If it didn't, how would I know what to write? This is going to be our entry ticket. Make sure you play this back if you were not following along. Right. Next up, how to listen number 8. Remember, these are all haikus. Do you remember? Someone's always asking, and someone else always does. What do you think they're talking about? Do you remember what? Last one. Fate and faith and reasons. Everything happens for a reason, my mother says, then tells me how Kay believed in fate and destiny. Everything that happened or was going to happen couldn't ever be avoided. The marchers down south didn't just up and start their marching. It was part of a longer, bigger plan that maybe belonged to God. My mother tells me this as we fold laundry, white towels separated from the colored ones, each time a threat to the other, and I remember the time I spilled bleach on a blue towel, dotting it forever. The pale pink towel, a memory of when it was washed with a red one. Maybe there is something, after all, to the way some people want to remain, each to its own kind. But, in time, maybe everything will fade to gray. Even all of us coming to Brooklyn, my mother says, wasn't some accident. And I can't help thinking of the birds here, how they disappear in the wintertime, heading south for food and warmth and shelter, heading south to stay alive, passing us on the way. No accidents, my mother says, just fate and faith and reason. When I ask my mother what she believes in, she stops, mid-fold, and looks out the back window. Autumn is full on here, and the sky is bright blue. I guess I believe in right now, she says, and the resurrection, and Brooklyn, and the 4 of you. All right, make sure you are taking notes in your BGD notebook. Make sure you copied and pasted these in there for you. And then another thing is if you're watching this on Wednesday, on Thursday and Friday, we are going to be putting together all your BGD notebooks. So if you want, get some construction paper, some colored markers, and be prepared to do some arts and crafts on Thursday and Friday. If you do not have those supplies or you can't get those supplies, don't worry about it. What we can do is start a new Google document, and you can play with the fonts. You can copy and paste, or you can do it on Google Slides. You can have different backgrounds. But what we're going to do is change our memoir project into just the poems that you guys wrote, and you guys can keep making them as you continue. So be prepared for that. Be prepared for an entry ticket on Monday for Stanford, Tuesday for Duke. If you do not watch this video, you will not be able to participate in class. Have a good one. Come to office hours if you need us.